Hey guys, it's Untouched Briars, and I'm finally doing this year's Breyerfest tips video. The first thing I want to say is I'm not going this year. I think the last you heard from me was I was going, and it's been sort of back and forth, but I had to buy a new saddle for my horse, and I have literally no money at all for anything. It's horrible. So I'm probably just going to go next year. And I'm sad about it, but there's always next year. And now it's getting really close. It's within a month, so I'm sure all you guys are just super excited. I hope this year's will be a little bit more organized than the one I did last year. If any of you remember that, it was really long and rambling, and I had to do it in 2 parts because I talked too much. So today I made a list of the most frequently asked questions that I got in the comments on my last video, and I'm also recovering the original questions I had in my last video as sort of a recap. And I'm starting at the very beginning with the most simple things, so bear with me if you already know all this stuff because it's going to get a little bit more interesting later on. So, first question is, what is Breyerfest? And Breyerfest is basically a model horse convention, and it's where thousands of collectors get together and basically just share what they love, and Breyer makes special models for this, and everyone just comes and has a great time. It's fantastic. It's located at Lexington, Kentucky, at the Kentucky Horse Park every year. It never changes. When is it? That differs slightly from year to year. Generally, it's the same week in July. This year, they pushed it back 1 week because the horse park has another big event going on in the week that they would usually have it. So this year's 2014 Breyerfest is July 11th through 13th. And the next question is, what should I bring to the park? You don't want to bring a lot of stuff because you'll just weigh yourself down. Try and keep it as minimal as you can. The most important things are probably sunscreen, water, and snacks. And obviously money for purchasing the models with. And that's just the basic you stuff. You also want to make sure you have your Breyerfest admission pins, your celebration tickets, and your special run tickets, which I'll go into a little bit later at a different part of the video. If you want, you can bring a large tote or bag of some sort to carry your models in. The Breyer store does have these big plastic bags, which hold like 2 or 3 boxed models, so those are pretty big. Depending on how many horses you buy from the store itself that they have at the horse park, you may want to bring something as well, or just make multiple trips to the car, because it's not very fun in 105-degree weather to carry around a ton of boxes. Next question, what hotel should I stay at? There are a lot in the area, because it's a popular tourist place anyway. I have always stayed at the Embassy, and I like it there a lot. Also really popular are the La Quinta and, let me think, there's the Clarion as well. However, if you're not planning on doing a room sale, I wouldn't suggest booking it, and I'm also going to cover the room sales a little bit later. So basically the Clarion is if you are a vendor of sorts and have a lot of merchandise to sell. And the Embassy is kind of expensive, and I do realize that, so if you just look around for hotels in the area, there's a lot of travel websites and guides for that sort of thing, and just set sort of a criteria of what you're looking for and the distance you want from the park and stuff like that, then you shouldn't have any trouble because there's really a lot around there. How much money should I bring? This is sort of the impossible question, even though everyone asks it, unfortunately, because everyone wants different models, and everyone has a different opinion on how much is okay to spend on plastic horses. So, my first Breyerfest, I brought around 400. Last year, I brought more than that. But it's sort of, just bring however much you're comfortable with. If you're younger, just bring however much you can, basically, because once you get there, there'll always be more horses to buy than you have money for. I mean, that's just the way it is, and there's always going to be one more horse that you want to buy but don't have enough money for. So, but don't stress about it. Just, I mean, I think people get a little bit too carried away sometimes, and they forget that these are just little lumps of plastic. It's not the end of the world if you don't have enough for that one holy grail of yours. You can just find it online, go next year. It's no big deal. Don't stress out about it. Really random excerpt that I forgot to include in the original video, so I'm just going to stick this clip in where it's applicable. If you have trouble saving money for Breyerfest, this is a really good idea. It's also not my idea. However, I can't remember the YouTuber who originally posted this. If it's you, let me know so I can give you credit, because I'd love to. I saw this a really long time ago in 2010, 2011, and I've used it ever since. You just sort of get a box, however big you want, and you decorate it however you want, and you cut a little slit at the top, and basically you just put your Breyerfest money in there, and it's a great little piggy bank, and you can cover it with the Breyerfest horses or whatever you want to do, and I really like this one. It's my favorite one I've done. It's a shame I'm not actually going this year, because it's silver and shiny, and anyway, you get the idea. Just thought I'd mention that, because it's a cool little idea, and everyone seems to really have success with it. So yeah, back to the video. Next question. How long are the lines? The lines into the horse park can be pretty bad, because there's something called the Ninja Pit of Death at the horse park, which again is going to come a little bit later, and a lot of the hardcore collectors show up super early for that. Also, it depends on what time you get to the park based on what your special run tickets are, because those are probably the most important things you need to keep in mind while you're at the park. You don't want to miss those times or anything like that, because they're basically irreplaceable. I mean, you can try and buy times from someone else, but there's no guarantee of that, and they'll probably be pretty expensive. So, yeah, the lines, I showed up at about 7 a.m. on the first day, which is a Friday, and the line was very, very long. There was about 500 people in front of me, at least, and, but it moves fairly quickly. I mean, the team are prompt about opening the gates at the correct time. I believe the gates open at 9 a.m. I could be wrong. It might be 8 a.m. Sorry, I really don't remember. But once they open the gates, everyone starts moving along, and it doesn't feel that bad. I mean, you know, it's early in the morning, so it's not that hot yet or anything. Next section is tickets. And the frequently asked question for these, number one, is where do I get them? The official Breyer website, which is breyerhorses.com, has them for sale. You can also probably find them on eBay, but I don't recommend that because they'll either be more expensive or they'll cheat you out of something in the ticket. Usually people buy the tickets from Breyer, then they keep the special run times, and then they resell the rest of it. So you want to make sure you're not getting cheaped out of your special run ticket. So yeah, you can get them from the official Breyer website. What do you get in the tickets? You get a adult or child pen, depending on which one you want. You get however many celebration horse tickets as you order. You get one per each adult Breyerfest pen. And children's, I think, is the same as long as you're over 6. Yeah, over 6. You get 1 special run ticket per adult and child pen, and you can get 2 horses per ticket. I'll go into that later. You also get general information. The Breyerfest programs, which is what this is, you don't get those with your ticket, but they're free at the park. And while you're waiting in line to get in, the staff will hand it out to you. So don't worry about that. They also have these available online in a PDF form if you want to print them out. How much do the tickets cost? I honestly have no idea because I'm really behind on this year's information. It does seem to me that they're raising the price $5 every year, or maybe I'm imagining that. I'm just forgetting and then being surprised how much it is. But it seems like it's going up to me. The children's is always less than the adults. I feel like it's about a $15, $20 difference. They do have an early bird special that you can get, which is if you buy your tickets before April 15th, I think. And yeah, basically you're just going to need to go on the Breyer website to check that because I have a horrible memory and I have no idea. The difference between the 3-day and the 1-day tickets. The 3-day tickets, you will get a free traditional sized celebration horse, which for 2012 was this guy. So I got him for free with my 3-day ticket. You will also get a special run time, and you will have these pens. If you get a 1-day, you will get a paper wristband for admission to the park, and you will get tickets similar to these, but they'll be for the stablemate 1-day celebration horse. So it's a different scale, and you still get a celebration horse, and you have 4 to choose from out of the 1-day stablemates. Generally, I buy them as well on top of the traditional because I love stablemates. So that's the main difference, and the 1-days are considerably cheaper, obviously. Next section of the questions is celebration horses. What are they? The celebration horses are sort of the main emblem of each year's Breyerfest. And, yeah, you've seen this guy. He was from last year. And the real horse of this, because this is a portrait model, he was there and he showed a little bit in the arena and everyone got to see him and the owner signed autographs and stuff like that, and it's really neat. And sort of they're just whatever Breyer feels like is a good representation of the theme for that year. And yeah, they're really fun. And they're, again, free with the 3-day tickets. Where do you get them? There's a map in the program, which maybe I can figure it out. I'm really bad at maps, but here we go. Okay, so you can sort of see there's the Breyerfest Help Center, as well as the single-day stablemate handout, and it's sort of like here, and it's really hard to visualize it, but once you get into the park, you'll definitely see it, because Fluffy is the giant inflatable brown horse. You may have seen him, and you really cannot mess that guy. He's right there by the Help Center, and the Breyer staff is always really helpful if you have questions about something, so you can find them there by Fluffy, and it's in that area. It's basically right up the ramp. There's a cement ramp that leads to the covered arena behind Fluffy, and right at the entrance to the arena itself, there will be people handing out the celebration horses. And once you hand in your ticket, they will cut off the bottom to show it's been used. Are the celebration horses free? Theoretically, they're free with your 3-day ticket, but since you're paying for a 3-day ticket, they're not exactly free. It's no additional charge. It's just something that comes with your ticket. What day should I pick the celebration horse up? unless you're in a rush, for example, if you want to live show your celebration horse, then there's really no best time. Generally, Breyer always has enough to go around. Really, the only year I can think of that was different was 2008 when they had a limited edition celebration horse, which was Alborozo. And they always have plenty, and the excess will be sold at next year's Breyerfest in the store, so you don't really need to worry about them running out. In the Breyerfest information you'll receive with your ticket, they will talk about the times that the stand place is open where you can get them. And just sort of keep an eye on it throughout the day while you're at the horse park, and go over there with your ticket whenever the line is short. Sometimes the line is really long, and I don't really understand that. There's no point in standing in line more than you have to. So I just, ran by when there was 2 or 3 people ahead of me and got mine just real fast. It's not a huge deal because, like I said, they hardly ever run out. The store specials. What are they? They are, and this guy was a 2012 store special, they are similar to the guest horses. However, you do not have a ticket for these. These guys are sort of open game in the Breyer store. And it's quite competitive to get them because they are limited edition. There aren't very many produced. And people will buy sometimes 4 or 5 for the purpose of reselling, which I understand is part of the hobby. If you're a younger collector, that can be frustrating because you don't get a single one, and these adults have, multiples. But just be patient about that. It's sort of how it goes. They have store hours. If you're hoping to get a store special, you should go as early as you possibly can. I would suggest Saturday morning because then you would avoid the Ninja Pit of Death, which is on Friday mornings only. And they're not horribly expensive. They're usually cheaper than most of the special runs. Next question is, are the store specials the same as the special runs? No, they are not. They are exclusive to Breyerfest, so they are similar in that sense. However, these you do not have a ticket for. Again, it's just they have a certain number at the store per day. You go and you buy one or as many as you want to buy. There's no limit per person, however many they can buy. You just basically purchase it like a regular model. The only thing that really makes it special is the limited editionness and the fact that the model that it's painted off of will be at Breyerfest as a guest horse as well. And next section is Ninja Pit of Death. I don't have very much experience with that. I have no wish to experience that. It's basically a rush at the Friday morning at the beginning of Breyerfest, because every year Breyer will put out sort of Easter eggs, you could say, for, I'll just zoom out on his face so you have something to look at. We'll put out sort of Easter eggs for the early comers, for good prices. Sometimes there'll be like a Secession and Leaf Fire, or something like that, and Alborozo maybe, special runs left over from last year, that type of thing. And they are for really good prices. However, you have to get there super early, and it's quite the rush, and it's sort of dangerous because people lose their minds over these things, and usually 1 or 2 people get injured in the process. So that's why they call it the Ninja Pit of Death. Unless you're feeling particularly adventurous, I can't say I recommend it. But, some people love it, so I guess it's a preference thing. Next section, special runs. And do you have to pay for them? Yes, you do. The ticket itself, which is just a time slot, the ticket is not like the celebration horse ticket. It basically says, hey, I bought a ticket from Breyer and I have a time slot. But it's not going to pay for the special runs at all. And this is an example of a special run ticket. And they give you a time, as you see, and it's only for that period of time. And you want to show up, 5-10 minutes before, in this example, 10:30 a.m., because that's when it started. And you can get 2 horses per ticket. Once you get 2 on this ticket, they'll draw a Sharpie on it, as you can see, to show it has been used. And, how many, just a second, my page of questions is over here. How many special runs are there every day? Breyer does a really good job of distributing them daily. I don't know how many there are between the days, but they have them split evenly between the days as well as split between the times. So you have a good chance as long as you have a good ticket. Average cost of a special run is the next question. Usually the cheapest are $45 and the most expensive are $75. And so the average cost is usually $60 per special run. Yeah, and it sort of just depends. Every year they have the same number. They always have a decorator, a non-equine animal, a surprise. There's sort of a pattern they follow, and generally they're all the same prices. And I believe by now, because it's so late into June, that all the special runs are released. And the prices aren't, but if you look back at other previous years, you can probably sort of get a good estimate on how much they would cost. Next question. Are there good and bad special run numbers? No, there are not. This is complete myth, and it's because the special run system, while it makes sense, is a little bit tricky to explain. And it's a really good idea to minimize on the lines and to make sure everyone has a chance to get a special run. I'll do my very best to explain it. I also have a clip of me going through the line from last year, just a tiny clip. Hopefully that'll kind of show you what it's like, maybe. And basically, I got 21 because I was the 21st person to order the tickets offline. I ordered them really early this year. 2013, I waited super late and I was like in the 80s or something. So it's like, there's a large tent and it says special run tent, and you go over there 5 to 10 minutes before your selected time slot. There will be employees there lining up. Each employee will have a large sign. For example, if there's a guy that says 100s and you have a ticket number 103, you go stand by him, and it helps organize everyone into a line. And it can be some confusion, and some people will try and cheat you for the most part, though everyone is super sweet and they're not trying to be dishonest. So you just tell everyone what your ticket is, and they sort of sort themselves out underneath that tent into a big long line, and they will call a number, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky to explain, because it's not 1 through 800 or something. It doesn't go in order like that. So don't despair if you have like number 500. That could be the best thing in the world, or it could be the worst. And it's because they call a number. Well, we're just going to pretend they called a number 18. So if you have 21, then 18, 19, and 20 are in front of you, and then you're 21. If they call a 18 and you have a number 17, then you will be at the very, very last. You want to have a number that's the same or close after what they, a number that's close to what they called or close after what they called. You don't want a number that's higher than what they called, if that makes any sense. And honestly, don't stress about it, because people are good at explaining things, and it just suddenly all clicks once you're actually there. I watched as many YouTube videos as I possibly could before I went, and I still didn't really understand the special run process. So don't worry about it if you're sort of in a gray area about that, because it'll become clear once you actually get there. Next question, room sales. What are they? Room sales are not actually affiliated with Breyerfest, or they are, but they're not a creation of Breyer, per se. They are sort of vendors that set up shop in the rooms of hotel rooms around the horse park, and they just bring a bunch of models and sell them out of there, and you can get the best deals. I would recommend doing at least 80% of your shopping at the room sales versus the horse park. At the horse park, you can get them for average prices of what they go on, average prices for what they go online with, but at the room sales, you can get just the deals of your life. It's amazing. So where are the room sales? The most popular room sales that you will hear people talk about constantly are at the Clarion, formerly known as the Holiday Inn North. So some people call it one or the other, which gets confusing, or they just refer to it as CHIN as an acronym. And it's, I don't know, maybe 3 minutes from the park. Yeah, and then Embassy also has some room sales, but not to the same degree. Clarion is really where you want to go. Last section is sort of travel, and I live close enough to the park that I don't fly, I just drive. I'm probably just gonna do a video about how to package models in general, and you can go look at that. Other people have similar videos, and like I said, since I don't fly, I don't really have any information on that. Also, live showing. I've never live shown in my life, obviously not at Breyerfest. I have no experience with it personally. However, there are other YouTubers out there who do, and I'm sure they will be making videos about it. So if you just search around, you can probably find information on that. I'm almost out of juice on my camera, so I really need to wrap this up. But the next sort of thing I wanted to cover is, because people ask, when are the tickets available, when do the models come out, etc., etc. So here is, well, I doubt you can read it because my camera is such terrible quality. Okay, this is a basic list of when they release things. I'm just going to read it. January 17th, early bird 3-day tickets available and the first special run released. February 10th, second special run released. February 21st, third special run. March 5th, first store special. March 6th, fourth special run. March 31st, first, second store special. April 4th, the surprise special run and the Sunday raffle model. April 11th, the 6th SR. Oh, special run, sorry. April 15th, the themed shop merchandise is released. May 7th, tickets are being mailed. May 9th, the 8th special run is released. May 13th, one-day tickets are available. And it depends on where you live, but since they mail the tickets usually on May 7th, you'll probably get them mid-June, because it takes a long time, because Breyer ships really slowly. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope this helps clear up some things for you. Breyerfest is just a huge event, and there's a lot going on, so don't be, like, scared or anything. Just be excited. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. You'll make a lot of friends. You'll see really cool stuff. You'll find horses that you never thought you could find and afford because there's such good deals at the Clarion. It'll just be the best. I was gonna talk about the Embassy setups, window displays as well. I don't really have time. I have 30 seconds left. I can make a video if you request it. Basically, since the Embassy has such huge windows outside the hotel rooms, people put displays that are similar to live show performance scenes up in their window, and people come by and write notes. These are notes I got on mine last year. and there's a contest about it, but I don't actually know how to enter the contest. I just did it for fun, and I'm sorry I'm really talking fast, but I only have 10 seconds left, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any other questions, feel free to comment. Bye.
You got this one?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Can you get that one too?
Alright, we're going to start setting up now for our Lady C, one of our wonderful guest stars.
Can you get him?
Give me a big thank you to Smart and Shiny. That is one beautiful. We're going to be setting up for